Hello, welcome back or welcome. Today we're revisiting Allison Bornstein's 3-word method. I created a video on this topic about a year ago, and to this day, it remains to be the most viewed video on this channel. So there's an obvious interest in this topic. And since that last video, I really have tried to keep my 3 style words in mind every chance that I got. So today I thought I would share with you everything that I've learned about my own style using this method, how these styles have served me and my style over the last year, and how they've also led me to set certain self-imposed limitations. And I also want to talk about how to use your style words even when you feel like you don't have enough time or the creative energy. And then last but not least, of course, I'm going to style some outfits today. I'm actually going to style the exact same items that I used in my last video, just so you can see how my style has changed over the last year. So we got a lot to cover, and I'm going to start with talking about how each of these words has served my style. Starting with the first word, which is the practical word. So this is the word that's supposed to describe what you're choosing to wear currently, regardless of how you want to dress or what you want your style to look like. So this is the word that's supposed to describe why you're choosing to wear what you are wearing right now. And my practical word is comfortable. And I'm actually really happy that I chose this word because I think your practical word is all about priority. I mean, of course, everybody wants to feel comfortable in their clothes. Like nobody is deliberately dressing to be uncomfortable. But thinking about it in terms of priority has really helped me reaffirm my practical word. I need to be able to sit at my desk for hours without discomfort. I work from home. I don't have a dress code. And in that sense, I'm very blessed to be able to prioritize my comfort this way. I also have really bad posture. I like sitting with my legs crossed and my feet off the ground. And maybe one way to fix this is to dress in a less comfortable way. But hey, we all have our vices, and my biggest vice happens to be avoiding to face my bad habits, okay? Speaking of habits, I also have some good ones, like going on a daily hour-long walk. Weather dependent, of course, but I really have been trying to be as consistent as possible for the last year and a half. And that also means my shoes must be comfortable enough for this activity. I'm not going to change my shoes, let alone my outfit, just for this one activity. And I actually feel like changing to do something demotivates me to do that activity. I also dance twice a week, so I need to be able to move in my clothes. So on those days, I know to avoid things like 100% cotton denim. So thinking about what's important for my lifestyle has really helped with reaffirming my practical word. And if you're struggling to land on a practical word, then maybe one way of thinking that might help is to consider it a priority word. So what is that one word that describes what you prioritize? And shifting the perspective to what do I want to prioritize today has also been a way of adding more fun to getting dressed. You could prioritize activities like dance or walks that I talked about, but you can also prioritize your mood. Like, I want to feel a bit sensual today, or I'm on my period and I just really need to feel supported through my clothes right now. Setting the priority can be as simple as a specific item, like an item that I don't wear often enough that I'm gonna make sure I start the outfit with for the day. So what I mean by fun is setting the intention of the outfit for the day and letting your creativity just kind of run with the idea. And the more I talk about this, the more this is sounding like Rita's style key system of intention and execution. So even after a year from landing on my first word, I think I'm gonna keep it the same. Maybe there will come a day where I decide to prioritize something else over comfort, but for now, I'm content with it and it's been serving me well. Now, the second word is the aspirational word, and this word I think is all about the vision. So it's the external representation of how you want to show up and how you want your style to be perceived. And Allison suggests looking at your Pinterest board or wherever you draw your inspiration from to find your aspirational word. And based on my Pinterest board, the word that I came up with was minimal. And using this word minimal as one of my style words has honestly felt somewhat limiting at times. As some of you know, I've added a lot more color to my wardrobe recently, and I'm also styling myself with more jewelry these days. I think it's a way of coping with the whole no buy challenge that I'm putting myself through. I'm like mixing and matching all of my jewelry collection, as a replacement to that novelty chase. But when I'm styling myself with a bright color or when I'm stacking on a ton of jewelry, at the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, am I doing too much? Like, is this too against my style word? And I realized that this way of thinking creates this restrictive mindset. And of course, it's 100% self-imposed because your style words can change over time. Just like how your vision changes or how we course correct our aspirations and goals. The style that you aspire to have can also change with time, with growth, with you. So I started thinking, is minimal really the word that I aspire my style to be? Like if somebody were to describe my style in a positive manner, do I want to hear your style is very minimal? So I went back to my Pinterest board to see if I can detect a different pattern. And of course, all of the outfits had a minimal flair to them. But this time around, what I noticed was that they also have this I don't give a fuck attitude, not in a loud way, but in a way that evokes a sense of ease and effortlessness. And that just happens to be expressed through the medium of a minimal aesthetic. So does this mean my aspirational word is now going to change to effortless? And the answer is no, because I actually think the word effortless is overused and it's a way of romanticizing, just like how the word timeless is a way of romanticizing basics and neutrals. So this naturally led me to think, okay, well, what exactly am I romanticizing? What is that word that I'm actually looking for? And I came up with some words like unbothered, nonchalant, natural, understated. But the word that I finally landed on is carefree. And this is kind of different from careless, right? It's not the lack or the absence of care, but it's more so the state of not being consumed by it despite its existence. And I thought in that way, this word represents embracing imperfection, like being in that perfectly imperfect state. Now here's why I still like the fact that I chose the word minimal. Minimal is much more concrete in terms of describing a style or an aesthetic, whereas the word carefree, it describes a feeling and it's less specific in terms of visual examples. Like it's sort of up to interpretation. So while I think that having words that describe feelings as your style words is actually a great idea, I also think that it's really helpful to dissect these words into more specific style terms. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later on in the video as well. So if you struggle with using your style words to incorporate them into your style, being more specific with your words is definitely helpful. I mean, a vague vision doesn't come to life. And having some concrete and actionable words is actually a really great way to practice using this method. And that's why I didn't mind having minimal as one of my words. And now that I've gotten enough practice with it, I'm just ready to move on. Now, before talking about the third word, I want to talk about how you don't really need to incorporate all three of your style words all the time. I actually think that using 2 out of your 3 words is enough for daily wear, especially on days where you're pressed for time or you are having one of those lazy days and you don't want to put in that much creative energy into your outfits. I think using just your practical and aspirational words is enough because, like I said, the practical word is all about setting priorities. And the second word, the aspirational word, it's a style that you want. So this is going to be aesthetically pleasing to your eyes. Not that the third word isn't important, but sometimes we just have to prioritize other things in life than our outfits. For example, if I were to use the words comfortable and minimal to create an outfit, that is such an easy way of getting dressed for me. It might not be my 10 out of 10 outfits, but honestly, they work just fine and they still feel authentic because I'm prioritizing comfort and I'm creating that carefree vibe through a minimal way of dressing. Now, if I were to use the words comfortable and carefree, which is my revised aspirational word, can you see how immediately more thought needs to go into, well, how can I add a carefree feel to my outfit? So I think that carefree is still a valid style word. It's just a little bit more difficult to visualize than minimal. And this is exactly why I said that coming up with some specific style descriptors is a good idea. So you could have like a home word or a parent word like comfortable and carefree. And then you can have a bunch of child words that are more tangible descriptions like silhouettes or aesthetics. For example, for the parent word carefree, the child words I came up with are undone, flowy, and understated. Now, with the third word, which is the emotional word, I think that this word is all about the outlook. So opposite to the aspirational word, which was about the external, your emotional word is about the internal. So I started thinking about why I chose the word rebellious, and I gave a pretty vague explanation about it in my last video, but when I thought more about it, I realized that I associate this emotion to the moments where I've seen the biggest growth in my life, and those were the times where I was rebelling against the expectations. Like, I just realized that all of these moments that empowered me are closely linked to me being a rebel and having the courage to do something that I was scared to fail at. And I think I consider it proof that this feeling is like a good sign. It usually leads to good things. So I didn't really expect to go super deep into my thoughts when I started writing this script out, but the more I wrote, the more I realized that my 3 style words not only describe my style, but they also describe my core needs and wants when it comes to my life philosophy. Rebellious is how I want to feel, carefree is how I want to be perceived, and comfortable is my need and my priority. So if I were to throw all of that into one sentence, I want to or need to feel comfortable being a rebel so that I can become a carefree person. I think that's a pretty good one-liner that describes how I want to carry out with life. Now, I know I said using 2 out of your 3 style words is good enough, but obviously using all 3 is better. And I really think that practice, as with anything else, is the best way of getting better at using your style words and honing your style this way. So I think practicing to style yourself using your 3 words at least once or twice a week is a good idea. I know everybody has busy lives and other things going on, but you're watching this video because you're interested in this, and I think once or twice a week commitment is reasonable. And like I said, having your home or parent words that describe the feelings that you want to achieve through your style, and then branching out from there to dissect those words into more specific style terms, that has been really helpful for me. So this is like an exercise of developing your own word clusters. And this is a really good exercise because how each person interprets words can be different. So thinking about what exactly these words mean to you, specifically related to style, this can provide you an outline of how to incorporate these feelings into your own style. So to give you an example with my style words, for the word comfortable, what I've come up with is relaxed, oversized, sporty, street, and unfussy. And when I came up with the word unfussy, I was specifically thinking about sleeves, because as much as I think that wide sleeves or bell sleeves look really cool, there's no chance that I am buying any of those or adding those into my wardrobe, knowing that I will probably dip it into like something I'm eating throughout the day. So you see how these words can be pretty specific to either silhouette or aesthetics, or even styles that you want to avoid. And then for my word carefree, the words I came up with are undone, flowy, and understated. I did think about adding minimal and simple, but I think understated it kind of encompasses all of those, and it's a more accurate description of the styles that I like. And then for the word rebellious, I came up with dark, edgy, sensual, unexpected, and rock and roll. So I think 3 to 5 is a good number. If you have too many, that can feel overwhelming and probably not that easy to remember. So anywhere between 3 to 5, I think, is the sweet spot, but there's no rules around it. So based on these updated words and word clusters, let's go style some outfits. As I mentioned at the beginning, there's 3 items that I'm gonna style today that were used in my initial 3-word video. Metallica t-shirt, the blue Adidas track pants, and this gray open back sleeveless top. And in case you haven't clued in, I've styled my hair this way intentionally because I'm trying to add that carefree vibe to the look. And I've already talked about the importance of hair and makeup on the overall style in my last video on the dark aesthetics muses. So I'm gonna show you how I would style these 3 items today. And just for fun, we'll do a comparison with how these items were initially styled a year ago. So the first item is the t-shirt, and I'll pop the outfit that I styled last year. And I honestly don't mind this outfit at all. I would still wear it, but I know that I had the word minimal in mind. So let's see how we can update this outfit with using the word carefree. And I think the easiest and the simplest way to do that is by swapping out the pants to these green pleated pants. They're still loose and relaxed and comfortable, but the material and the pleated texture just add a bit more of a flowy look. And I think that's the subtle change that's gonna make the outfit go from minimal to carefree. I mean, the second outfit is still minimal, but you see how with the first outfit, it's a bit of a stretch to say that the outfit looks carefree, whereas with the second outfit, we can kind of say it's minimal or carefree, and it's sort of up to interpretation. I've also added more jewelry here with a necklace and a bracelet, just to add more of that edge, and also because, like I said, I just like styling my outfits with more jewelry these days. I can also swap out the pants to this white maxi skirt, which is another way to add that flowy silhouette. And with this outfit, I've got 2 shoe options. I can either go with sneakers for an ultra comfortable and sporty look, or I can go with these black chunky boots that work really well with the skirt, I think, and these add a bit more of a dark and edgy feel. I'd probably swap out the jacket to a darker color just for some contrast, and I might put my hair up so the jacket doesn't look so heavy. And yes, this might be a bit too much for summertime, but it doesn't get that hot here in Vancouver, and especially when the sun goes down, I think it's always a good idea to have a top layer in mind. Another option I can go with is to pair the t-shirt with these trousers, which have a loose and oversized fit. And then the Birkenstocks, I mean, what screams comfortable more than these shoes, right? I put the hair up in this messy style, not only for that carefree vibe, but also I want the edgy earrings to show a bit more, and I'm just gonna finish the look with some sunglasses. The next item I'm going to style are these Adidas track pants. Initially, I've styled these with a form-fitting t-shirt underneath and a black jacket on top and mesh flats, but I actually don't really like how short the t-shirt is. I think it's an awkward length and it kind of shows the elasticated waistband in a weird way. So how I would actually style these pants now and how I've been wearing them in real life is with this longer white sleeveless top. The material and the silhouette on this top add that flowy and undone feel to the look, and I like throwing on a white button down as a top layer for this look, and in this case I would tuck in the top underneath just for some proportional interest. Again, I've got 2 shoe options here. I could keep the mesh flats and just add a black shoulder bag, and that keeps the color theme pretty simple between the white, black, and blue. Or I could switch out the shoes to these burgundy fisherman sandals. And I don't know if you guys remember, I talked about this primary color trick in one of my previous videos, that if you feel like your color combination is not working, you can check for the presence of all 3 primary colors to see if you can bring more balance to the outfit. So for this look with the pants and the shoes, I've already got the blue and the red, and yellow is what I'm missing. So I'm just gonna simply add an ivory bag because the base color of ivory is yellow, and now all of the 3 primary colors are present. The ivory bag looks a bit more casual, whereas the black bag looks sleeker, and this is something that I've been debating between a lot these days. It seems like it always comes down to choosing between these 2 bags when I'm finishing an outfit. I've also been enjoying these blue pants with the gray graphic tee combo. Here I'm wearing my hair up again. I like the blue pants and the burgundy shoes combo, but depending on the day and how long I'm going for a walk, or if I'm going to dance or anything like that, I might swap out the shoes to these gray sneakers, and I'm using the ivory bag again just to add a bit more contrast. And now we're styling this open back sleeveless top. There's not much wrong with the initial outfit that I came up with, but I've actually never worn this outfit outside, and I think it's probably because the pants look a bit too formal. Like, this outfit would work if my second style word was to stay minimal, but It is missing that carefree vibe, and that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the pants look a bit too formal for my liking. So I'm just going to simply swap out the pants to these ivory jeans. The fit of these jeans just feel more slouchy and laid back, and that's as easy of a change that I need to go from minimal to carefree. Again, the Birkenstocks add that comfortable vibe, and I've added more necklaces here just to break up that tight neckline. I mean, I already have a bit of broadness going on in my shoulders, so I just want to create a bit of a break in the neckline and shoulder line. And here's a similar outfit that I also like, and this time it's with gray jeans. Again, I think it just comes down to the fit of the jeans being less formal than the trousers. The mesh flats add more edge to the look, and I've added a different colored bag here just so we're staying away from being too monochromatic with the gray and the black. I also like pairing this top with this green satin skirt. The material on the skirt is flowy, the bright pop of color is quite unexpected, and the simple and casual sandals just make the look a bit more comfortable. So this was a fun exercise just to see how my style has evolved over the last year, and I hope you guys can see how the simple change in the words going from minimal to carefree gives me more room to play around with and experiment. I hope you liked the video. If you get the chance, try this exercise out for yourself just to see how your style has changed over time, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay unique and stay gorgeous.